day, Leanne, we had a blockbuster positive number. The U.S. economy actually lost jobs in July. They put out two different numbers on the same day based on whatever survey it is. So it's either 23,000 job losses based on a payroll survey or 87,000 job losses based on the broader survey, which is equivalent to how Statistics Canada reported it today. Either way, bad news in the U.S. And I think not just the month's numbers, but the longer-term trend in the U.S. labor market has been quite different than Canada. Since Donald Trump came back in with his trade war and the tariffs and everything else, overall employment in the U.S. has actually been falling, whereas it's been growing in Canada. Real wages in the U.S. are falling. Real wages are growing in Canada. So the assumption that the trade war would kind of put Canada on its knees economically is not panning out.
Canada is getting a major economic boost, while the U.S. is showing signs that something is going wrong. Jobs are growing north of the border, but America is moving the other way. That growing gap could become a serious problem, especially if the weakness in the U.S. job market is deeper than officials are saying, and that could be very bad for the U.S. Canada added 75,100 jobs, nearly 5 times what economists expected. In the very same month, the United States unexpectedly lost 23,000 jobs. Two neighboring economies, tied together at the hip, moving in opposite directions. Start with the Canadian side, because the contrast is what makes the American weakness so visible. Canada added 75,100 jobs in July, dramatically exceeding the roughly 16,500 that economists had forecast. The unemployment rate fell to 6.4%, a 2-year low. That was not a marginal beat, it was a blowout, more than 4 times the expected gain, in an economy that many analysts had warned was sliding toward recession only months earlier. For a country absorbing American tariffs across steel, aluminum, autos, and lumber, adding 75,000 jobs in a single month is a remarkable demonstration of resilience. Now, the American side. The United States unexpectedly lost 23,000 jobs in July, a decline where growth was expected. A net loss of jobs in the world's largest economy is a significant event on its own. But the July loss is only the surface of a deeper problem. When two integrated economies diverge this sharply in the same month, with Canada surging and the United States contracting, it raises a serious question about whether the American labor market is beginning to lose momentum in a way the headline figures obscure. The US unemployment rate stood at 4.1%, and on its face, that looks healthy. But that number does not tell the whole story. The labor force participation rate fell, meaning fewer Americans were actively looking for work. This is the detail that changes everything. When people stop searching for jobs, they are no longer counted as unemployed, which means the unemployment rate can hold steady or even improve while the actual job market weakens. A 4.1% rate built on falling participation is far less reassuring than a 4.1% rate with people actively entering the workforce. The headline masks the underlying deterioration. Then comes the most alarming signal of all the revisions. Earlier US job numbers were revised sharply lower. Job growth for May and June was cut by a combined 103,000 positions. That means the American labor market was substantially weaker in the spring than officials and investors first believed. Revisions of that magnitude are a warning in themselves, because they indicate the initial data painted too optimistic a picture. The economy people thought they were seeing in May and June did not actually exist at the strength reported. Combined with July's outright job loss, the revisions suggest the slowdown could be deeper and longer running than anyone realized. Put the pieces together, and the American trajectory becomes clear. A job loss in July, a participation rate falling, propping up the unemployment number artificially, and 103,000 jobs erased from the prior 2 months through revisions. Each of these signals alone would warrant attention. Together, they describe a labor market that may have been quietly weakening for months while the headline unemployment rate concealed the trend. That combination is why analysts are raising fresh concerns about the health of the broader US economy. The Canadian strength makes the American weakness impossible to ignore. Canada is adding jobs at a pace far above expectations while the United States sheds them. Canada's participation held up while America's fell. Canada's unemployment hit a 2-year low through genuine job creation, while America's steady rate rests on people leaving the workforce. And If you want the real story behind how Canada is still holding its ground through tariffs, wars, and hard times, hit join below to join the membership for exclusive documentaries you won't see anywhere else about Canada's progress and rise through uncertainty.